Welcome back, guys. This is On The Sideline, and we are back with more tier list content because it's a
Because we
good
love it.
discussion. I'm joined by Kurt, as always. How you
Yep.
doing?
All good, all good. Enjoy the Christmas period. Ready to get back into it with a nice little tier list.
So, logically, you would start... Oh, sorry. So, we're going to be tier listing the whole of the Premier League. It sounds like quite a large undertaking, but thanks to the wonderful people who make these tier lists, we found it position by position, and we thought we'd mix it up and go straight in for DMs or number sixes in the league. Obviously, recently we saw over the festive period Granit Xhaka performed out of his skin and actually scored a goal. So we thought we'd compare him to the rest of the league on how they tier.
Yeah.
So shall we get on the way?
Let's get into it.
Start top to bottom, bottom to top.
Let's just do top to bottom. Let's go with what's an easy choice.
Main man himself, as I just said.
Yeah,
Xhaka.
let's do it. Let's start with Xhaka because it's a pretty interesting one actually. He's really someone that is in my opinion anyway, really inconsistent. Obviously, he's just scored an absolute
player,
banger.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Very decisive.
He's really gone.
For me, he'd be one of the one of the bottom two tiers.
World class. Yeah, he has captained Arsenal.
Absolutely not.
He was. I think he was club captain for a little period. Not really sure what that means for Arsenal, but yeah.
That did happen, and then the crowd booed him off, and then he was never captain again. So I wouldn't. Oof. He's kind of in between getting a bin and really average.
Yeah, I think to be fair, because we have to be a bit fair to Arsenal fans, I think we've got to put him in really average. He's not god awful. But the thing is with him is that he's not really just defensively superb, and he's also not really offensively superb, and he's also a bit of a liability. He's very aggressive, so he doesn't really bring anything huge to the team. So he's just like a bit of a bite. He's like a dog that's always barking. You know what I mean? But he should be if he wants to be in that sort of player, he needs to be like a wolf that's barking, and he's not. He's just like a dog that's barking. So I think he's really average.
Yeah, but just looking at stats from last season, he doesn't lead the league in anything from tackles or pressures or blocks or even interceptions. So it's kind of hard to make a claim for anything other than really average.
Yeah, so we'll stick him in really average.
Shall we move on to his teammate on this list? So just a disclaimer, we haven't made this tier list, and some of you might be seeing it down below and being like, where's this player, or where's that player, like Kante or Souček or McTominay or whoever. They'll be covered in other videos on other tier lists of 8s.
We'll get to that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So as I was saying, let's do Mohammed Elneny, a kind of someone who was cast out by Arsenal last season, shipped off to Besiktas. Many fans probably didn't think he'd ever come back. Lo and behold, start of this season, he's really started quite a lot for Arsenal, which is quite surprising. Nevertheless, I still think he is quite bang average. I think every Arsenal fan would probably agree with that. He's probably more consistent than Xhaka, but I don't think that would ever actually put him in solid.
Yeah, he's really average. I think was it Man United where he had I don't know if it is, but I think it's Man United he had an insane game where everyone was like, oh, Nene, he's back. Him and not even he's back, but he's showing his form to us. He's showing us what he can do. And then the next going on from there, he's just been, as he always has been, just really average. He's just meh, really. Not a great player, to be honest.
He doesn't set the world alight, but he doesn't do a lot wrong.
Yeah.
Arsenal have had the history of having a Flamini, just a guy who gets through a lot of dirty work, a lot of tackles, a lot of pressing. But yeah, I'd still say he's really average.
Would you put him in really average, or would you put him in get in the bin? Same as Xhaka?
I'd say really average, but I'm happy to put him in the bin if you want to.
Nah, we'll save him from the bin for now. Really average, that's fine. I think it does sort of show you the state Arsenal are in. Both their DMs are really average. It's not good, really, but
let's not slag off Arsenal anymore. We're going to be we're having an agenda on this channel.
Sorry, everyone. We'll move on.
So Douglas Luiz, Aston Villa's only entrant on this list. He has proven many doubters wrong in the sense that he made a big money move from Man City to Villa, and probably people like, what the hell, why? He's not actually that bad. He's even been capped by by Brazil in recent years, which says a lot for someone who plays for Aston Villa.
Yeah.
He is still quite young.
I really like him.
21 right now.
I honestly really like him. I think he'll definitely improve, but I think that he has a lot of quality in the Aston Villa team, and I think he's been pretty solid in their midfield. I actually quite like him. I wouldn't say he's obviously like top lead in the season or anything, but I would say he's definitely solid. I don't think he's really average, to be honest. I think he is solid.
I would agree with that. I remember he's got a bit of an eye for goal, and you always love that from a DM.
Always love that. Okay, I'll chuck him in a... Where am I looking? Got him. Alright, yeah, solid. Okay, so that's the only Aston Villa player. Who should we move on to?
Let's go alphabetically. So Brighton next. So Ibrahimovic.
Honestly, I've not seen a lot of him, to be honest, this season. I haven't really...
I've been reading reports that both Liverpool and Manchester United are interested in him. They picked him up quite smartly from Lille a few seasons back, and he does a lot of dirty work and doesn't get a lot of praise just because of the way Brighton have performed. Not this season, but last. I quite highly rate him, and I think he's one of those players you can step up. Like you saw when Villa got relegated a few seasons back, and Idrissa Gueye was kind of cast off, but then Everton snapped him up, and now he's at PSG and is one of probably one of the best tackling DMs in world football right now. I think he's in an ilk like that. I would say at minimum would be solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the stats now. He's second in the league this year for tackles won, only below Højbjerg, and all of his stats look really, really good. Like, he's also second for successful pressures, like closing down the opponents. He's high in there for blocks. So I've not really watched Brighton play too much, because then I do like how they play and I like their team, but I just don't really have too much time for them. But he definitely seems to be up there with stats, so I've got to sort of agree with you. Solid, to be honest. We'll stick him in solid. Do you reckon he'll get a big move then?
Maybe if we review, he might even go up to top player, but he hasn't had that standout season yet. So yeah, to be fair, Liverpool are known for not getting the glamorous signings, aside from like recently with like Thiago, for instance, but that they do love an analyst report on a player. So if he's doing it with the stats, then they're going to be after him.
Yeah, as
is every team really. Mm-hmm. So moving on. Surprisingly, Burnley only have one DM, where most of the actual team is probably defensive minded. Got Jack Corke. Somehow this guy's been capped by England a few times. He's quite a solid player, really. He's probably one of those middling Premier League stalwarts. Just a nice 7 out of 10, consistent guy. Not going to set the world alight. Not going to do badly per se.
Yeah, it's hard to judge in the season. He's been injured for the whole season, so I don't think he's played a minute this season. So
looking at last season, he was 5th in the league for pressures, which isn't. I mean, when you're in the company of those who are at the top of the league, you can't be snipped at in a defensive-minded tier list.
Yeah.
I would put him in the middle. Just solid.
Yeah, I'll chuck him in there. Solid, yeah. Okay. Who have we got next? Is it Chelsea? Oh, I'm missing a team.
Yep. No, it's Chelsea. So, their two representations on this list are Billy Gilmore, who I'll just go out and say he's probably got talent, but just for this list per se, just put him in the bin.
Yeah, straight into the bin, unfortunately. Maybe you'll be out in a few years, but not now.
He's got
I'll pick you up on Tuesday.
He's got quite a steep uphill climb to get into that team with the midfield quality they have. Talking of possibly bin-worthy players, Jorginho. Maybe I wouldn't agree with him being in this role. I would put Kante in this one and then Jorginho in the number 8 tier list. But he really has kind of dropped off a cliff since he joined from Napoli.
Yeah, he was really good at Napoli. Really, really good. I actually liked him, and he'd done a lot in that team in terms of like moving the ball forward, moving it from defence into turning it into like an offence, especially with Napoli quite sort of small, quick players. He was really good in that system. I think at Chelsea, yeah, like you said, it's just gone downhill, and I don't think Lampard has got him in his plans going forward. So I think it's going to be the end of the road. I think they'll probably get rid of him in the summer, to be honest. But he's all right. He's played this season. He's played a little bit behind Kante and Kovacic, but yeah, nothing really special, especially for a team like Chelsea at the moment, who I don't know if you want to say they're trying to mount a title challenge, but they're trying to be up there. So I would say, I don't know if you want to stick him in the bin. I'll leave it to you. If you want to stick him in the bin, or if you want to leave him in average.
I'll just say he's like kind of an example of a player who only plays well for one manager. So he was a sorry man in and out, and now people label Bruno Fernandes as a pen merchant. Jorginho is a pen merchant, but now he can't even take penalties anymore.
Yeah.
So I can't put him below Xhaka if he is in the bin though. I feel like
I think he's
harsh.
really average. Like he has got some talent. Like he's a decent footballer. He's just not really hit the mark at Chelsea.
Maybe we could put Jorginho and Xhaka in the bin, but for now let's put him in really average.
Yeah.
We might have a little like rearrange at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, next, talking of pen merchants, we have Luca Milijevic of Crystal Palace, their captain, and arguably sometimes top scorer, not this season, but in seasons past, basically predominantly just from the penalty spot. For a team that, under a manager like Roy Hodgson, who loves a 4-4-2, I actually kind of think he's one of their better players. He does a lot of dirty work, and he can score from penalties, and he is a leader for them. But I wouldn't say he's anything above solid.
Yeah, I've been looking sort of at the stats for him, and he just seems to be bang in the middle for almost everything. Like tackles won, like dribbles just gone round him. He just seems to be really, really average. I know he is a good penalty taker, which is sort of nice to have, but yeah, he's pretty. I don't know if I can even rate him high enough to be solid, but I guess yeah, in terms of this list, he's probably a middle player. So I guess we'll put him in solid. He's not awful.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. He's in solid.
Then we have his teammates. Let's go through Crystal Palace quite quickly because I don't know if we have too much to say on either of them. Chiarte was quite a beast at West Ham in yonder years, but made that kind of strange move to Palace, and he's been playing more predominantly as centre back due to injuries. But I might say his better years are past him now.
Yeah, but I would say he's probably better in DM than Milijevic, to be fair.
Yeah. Just looking at stats last season, both McCarthy and Chiarte may attempted more tackles than Milijevic, and they were in McCarthy was in 5th and Chiarte 7th for the league. So they do get through a lot of defensive work. So I'd probably say Chiarte solid as well.
Yeah, he is pretty solid, to be honest. Bit of a beast.
McCarthy, definitely his better years were at Everton.
Yeah.
I did say he made tackles, but I don't think he holds down a starting spot in that midfield at Palace, which is quite surprising. I'd probably just put him in really average.
If he's not starting
Jara
at Palace,
Jara Riedeveld, welcome to the bin, my friend. You were some promising talent at Ajax. Ronald de Boer, I apologise if I got... Frank de Boer, former Palace manager, possibly the worst manager in Premier League history. Brought him in, and then somehow he's managed to stay in that club for all this long. I don't really know how he's a Premier League player. So, moving on. I'll just go now for Everton. Another bin-worthy player is Mohammed Besic. Still don't know how he's classed as a Premier League player. I don't think he's played for Everton for like 2 years now.
Straight in the bin.
I remember once straight in the bin. He profited from a good World Cup in 2014 for Bosnia. And back when I was writing a blog, I made a post of 5 players who the Premier League should buy, and he was one of them. And my friend has always taken the piss out of me for that article just because I made the point that Besic was decent, and he's never really been that good.
Yeah.
So, another bin-worthy player. Moving on, again, got Jean-Paul Gabanin, someone who Everton bought thinking they would got a ready-made replacement for Idris Gueye, and unfortunately for him, he's just been constantly injured all year, all of last season. I still think he's injured now. They still haven't seen the player that they bought. I think it's harsh to put him in the bin for just like what he was, but he has not really done anything. So he could easily be put in the bin.
Oh, yeah. I think we'll just. I think really average is quite fair because he does look to be a decent player. Like you said, he's not found any sort of form or anything like that.
He's only 23 as well, so he's still loads of time.
Okay, I'll put him in average. Really average.
Okay, up next, Alan, another former Napoli player. I think we're going to edge towards the top of this list for once. We need this kind of sparse up there. Do you have much to say on Alan?
I really like Alan. When I watched a couple of Napoli games, he was like really good for Napoli. He is not necessarily similar to Kante, but he's that small, like fairly small player, but he's just bitty. He's going to get in there. He's going to actually make good tackles. He's quite quick, fantastic work rate up and down the pitch, and good eye for passing as well. Really like him. He's sort of what you want in terms of how Jorginho's come to Chelsea and absolutely flopped. I think Alan's come from Napoli and he's done exactly what you expect him to do, like similar to what he's done at Napoli. And I think he's quite well suited to the Premier League, the way he plays. Yeah, I really like him. I think I wouldn't say he's world class, but I would definitely say he's a top player in my opinion. What about you?
I think it was pretty much a big coup that Ancelotti got him, and he might be getting towards the latter years of his career, but I still think he is top player. I don't think he's world class. He was probably world class for like 1.5, 2 seasons at Napoli, and really should have got a bigger move. But suffice to say, he didn't, and now he's in the Premier League, and I'd put him in top player.
Yeah, all right. So the first player that's made it above solid so far.
Now we have Fulham. Got Jean-Franck Zambo Anguissa, who they bought in when they got promoted 2 seasons ago, and everyone thought, oh my god, look at all this money they're spending, they're bringing in quality players, and then it all flopped. That being said, I rated Anguissa when he was at Marseille, and he probably could have gone to a better team than Fulham, and he was on loan at Villarreal last season, and he bossed it defensively. Was one of the leading defensive mids, stats-wise at least, across Europe. So I do think despite him playing for Fulham, he is on the higher end of this tier.
Yeah, I agree. And he's third. He's third in the season for tackles won this year. So it looks to be quite decent. I think he's, like you said, we're still sort of waiting to see the most from him, but he's playing at Fulham, let's be honest, not really fantastic, but he's definitely decent. I'll probably say he's a solid player.
Yeah, I put him in solid.
Alright, I'll stick him in solid. Okay.
Now we've got another 2 Fulham players, both signed from Southampton this season. Mario Lemina and Harrison Reed. Lemina was an interesting one. I remember a few seasons ago, for some reason he was linked with United when we were crying out for a DM, and then that didn't turn out to be any truth, just paper talk. And he was consistent for Southampton, but nothing spectacular. I remember he went on loan to Turkey, I think, last season, and now he's back at Fulham. I don't overly have too much to say.
Yeah, me too. Really I think average. He's pretty. I guess he's kind of consistent, but just consistently average. He's just like one of those players that, for a team like Fulham, to be fair, I guess he's not really a bad player. Like he'll do the job. You can rely on him to a fair extent. He's not had that much game time this season. I'm not sure if it's due to injury or just due to not being picked. But yeah, he's someone you can have in your squad. He's not awful. Not really Premier League. Well, he is, I guess, maybe Premier League quality, but you would never see him probably out of the bottom half team like going forward. But yeah, I would say he's probably really average.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Stick him in there.
Harrison Reed, I remember he was vital for Fulham in their promotion campaign in the Championship, and then they signed him permanently from Southampton, which I don't think many people expected to actually Southampton to allow him. But I think, I don't have any stats to back him up from last season, but I'm not sure if he's played all too much this season in the Prem. I wouldn't say he's a bin-worthy player, but maybe in comparison to the rest of this list, we do put him in the bin.
Yeah, he's played more than
I think he's
Lemina,
average.
but I mean he's played almost like a third more than Lemina, and literally Lemina's got like much more tackles won than him. So yeah, he's pretty. Looking at his stats, he looks like he's been quite a mare this season, and I've not really seen too much from him, so I probably have to put him in the bin, to be honest.
Cool.
So yeah, get in the bin.
Next, Leeds' only player, Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips.
He's an interesting one. Like, I think compared to everyone in solid, I think he's possibly better than most, apart from probably Basuma. But I don't know if he's top player worthy.
Yeah, it's weird with Leeds this season, isn't it? Because they've been like really hot and cold, and they're really getting sort of they're getting caught out now because like they're obviously playing this really nice attacking football, but it's working against maybe teams that can't figure out the answer. But a lot of clubs have really sort of figured them out now, and like you've seen with United, they just got obliterated really because they're just not defensively strong enough. He is like the key role. Not the key. Is he the key player in that Leeds team? He's sort of the team is not built around him, but he is like the body of that team. But I don't know if he's doing enough like to really push Leeds forward. I'm thinking. Do you reckon he'll leave anytime soon?
I think it depends if how Leeds do this season. I don't see them going down.
No, I don't see them.
There's been links with United and Liverpool, I think, but I think I don't know if it's just because England don't have too many defensive midfielders, but he has been capped by England. I do think there is quality there. Like you said, Leeds do play a brand of football which doesn't really defend, but he is the only defensive-minded person in that midfield. When they're playing a 4-5-1, for instance, and like the other two centre mids are Click and Rodrigo, who is a striker really.
Yeah.
You're like, there's not much support there. So I do think he is quality.
He's the best player in that Leeds team, right?
Probably, yeah. No, I rate their keeper Meslier, but yeah, I'd put Calvin Phillips up there highly. I would put him maybe top of solid.
Yeah, let's yeah. I don't know. I think maybe he could be in top player because I do think like Milijevic from with solid. He's like definitely a tier above. Like he's a tier above most of those players.
Well, maybe do you want to change it now and move Calvin up, and maybe Basuma up, or Jack Court down?
Let's put Jack Court down into average. Let's put Calvin into top and Basuma into top as well. Yeah.
Cool. Looks a bit healthier list now, a bit more spread out. So now we move on to Leicester. Let's get through a couple of. We'll do these two. Oh no, let's do the obvious one. Wilfred Ndidi is possibly the best defensive mid in the league.
Yeah.
I think he's world class, and he's just waiting for a big move. He always leads the league for tackles, interceptions, presses. He just is ridiculous, and I wish United would just go out and slap the amount of money we spent on Maguire just on him.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'd be a better team. But
he's fantastic.
Yep.
And
do you have any qualms with?
He's only played he's not played even that much this season, and his stats are just fantastic. Like he's literally up in like the top 10. And he's played like a third of what most people have played. So I'd say he's world class.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd completely agree.
I'd say he's world class. Top player. Whoever gets him will be a good bit of business.
Then we've got Memphis Mendy. I'm going to do these both at once, and Daniel Marty. Memphis Mendy joined Leicester from, I think, Nice, but I might be wrong, when they sold Kante, and everyone thought, oh, we're getting a like-for-like player. And he hasn't been as good as Kante was or would be, which is understandable, but I think he's been dogged by injury or just lack of form, and then they bought Ndidi. I do remember when they played City this season, they played Amati and Mendy, and they hadn't played all season, and they played City off the park, which it's fair to say, like if you just play one game and you play like unreal, then fair enough. But for a list of a tier list of the whole league, you're looking at the just probably bang average for Mendy and Amati. Maybe Amati can get in the bin.
Yeah, I think Amati really meh, and Mendy's decent. I thought he was younger than yours. I didn't think he's 28, but yeah, pretty average. We'll chuck Mendy, really average. We can chuck Amati in the bin. He's just not really. What about Chowdhury? He's barely even played this season. He's quite young still, 23 years of age.
I suppose like there's some talent there. If it was done on hairstyles, he'd be in world class right now just compared to the rest of the list.
Yeah, I remember watching him. He actually wasn't that bad. Like I've watched him actually play, and I remember him being like seeing, okay, he's quite solid, but I just don't know if he's really getting into that Leicester squad at the moment, or if it really suits their team.
I don't think he's good enough for solid compared to the rest of the people there.
Yeah.
But then he's better than everyone in really average, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say he probably is really average.
Just let's put him top of really average.
Yeah.
Alright. I'd hate to say this as a United fan. Fabinho is also world class.
Yeah, especially the way he's like been forced into centre back this season, and he's still performed like phenomenally at centre back as well.
Yeah, the fact that he's possibly one of the best on form at the moment, one of the better or best league centre backs playing out of position. He can play everywhere really. I'll just easily you don't even need to look at the stats. He's just world class.
Yeah, I think he is still like better suited to being defensive midfielder because he's very good at passing.
Definitely.
But the role he's done at centre back, he's been their best centre back when Van Dijk is out, and they've even got like decent centre. Well, you can say what you want about Matip and Gomez. We'll save that for that tier list. But yeah, he is very, very good, and he's definitely a world class player.
Which Man City player would you rather talk about first?
Well, obviously Fernandinho sort of dipped into centre back this season a bit, but now that they've got Diaz and Laporte settled in, he's gone back more into that defensive mid position. Fernandinho, he's been world class. Is he still world class? Probably not. What do you think?
Yeah, I still think he is a top player, and in his prime, he's possibly one of the best defensive mids of probably the 2010s, the decade for the league. He's pretty much indispensable in that team compared to his other mate on his team list, who I can rip into quite well now. I'll put Fernandinho in top player.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, definitely world class. He's sort of slightly showing his age, but still a top player.
He probably could be. There is a case to make for him to be world class.
Yeah,
but Rodri on the other hand, I think is a big old fraud. I think City fans were rejoicing. I think other football fans were like, that's a quality signing when they got Rodri, thinking, oh, the one area of that team they needed is to kind of replace Fernandinho when they phase him out because of his age. And they think Rodri's a ready-made replacement coming in. Nope. Utter fraud. Overpriced.
Yeah.
I don't think he is as good as everyone says he is. I don't think he's proved it in the league. Like, there's City have become worse. I know other teams have become better in this league, but since they've got Rodri and they tried to put him in where Fernandinho was playing, they've just become a worse team. Safe to say.
Yeah, I think he was pretty good at Atletico, but like we spoke like recently, I remember we had a conversation about this. He had a great midfield around him at Atletico Madrid. Really hard work in midfield, and yeah, I think he's not really done that well at City. They're actually a bit lucky in a way that Fernandinho still hasn't really aged like too much because he sort of still kept them defensively stronger. Whereas if he was just relying on Rodri, I think they'd be really even worse than they are. So
I'm just looking at stats from like last season, and he doesn't even get anywhere near like the top half of this tier list on tackles, pressures, blocks, interceptions, and nothing.
Yeah.
So for a player that they almost broke the record, or like one of their most expensive signings, it's just very meh.
I think it's pretty harsh to put him below solid, but like obviously in terms of like money that's been spent on him, how good he's been, he would be in like really average. But if you're actually ranking him just up against his other players, I think you have to say he is solid. You don't think so? Can you put him the same as like Xhaka and like Jorginho and like Corke? Like really? I don't know. His stats aren't that bad this season. As well.
We might have been too nice on Jorginho and Xhaka if we put Rodri there. I'd say Rodri is the bottom
of solid. Yeah, I prefer like Douglas Luiz and players like that, but yeah.
Yeah. Matic, I think he's getting on a bit.
Yeah. He's class.
I would say from this list, I'd have to put him in solid.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest solid as well because I was worried that you were gonna suggest that top player, and I was like,
No.
Yeah, obviously this season he hasn't had as much game time because Well, he's had a bit of game time, but you guys have stuck with you've rotated a lot, really, haven't you? Like because you have now
Yeah.
Van der Beek, and you're trying to sort of get him into the squad. You've got Fred, who's been pretty much relied on. I think it's Fred and McTominay. Solskjaer's mostly relied on as sort of the partnership, but then obviously he's been rotating a lot as well to try and find out like the best formula. But yeah, I think he definitely has been like top player, maybe border world class in his past, but now he's probably solid. He's a good squad player to have, very good experience, and he can still do a shift. So I would say he's solid.
He's helped a lot. Towards the last end of last season. Don't agree with United giving him a 3-year deal at his age, but
he's helped you transition.
He's great. Yeah, he's great on the ball. It's just when off the ball, that's when his positioning is a bit worrying. But for this list, he's definitely a solid DM in the league.
Yeah.
Newcastle have Isaac Hayden and Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff is another fraud, but in the sense that how he was ever linked with United being like 30 to 50 million just because he's English.
Yeah.
I am so glad we have never signed him. I really hope we don't. Like him and his brother just play well against United somehow. Matty Longstaff is genuinely only plays well against United. He's living off that one goal on his debut.
Yeah.
But looking at stats last season, Hayden is in the top 10 for interceptions. Probably middle of the road for blocks in last season. Pressing, also middle of the road.
Yeah. They're both pretty
and
average.
Tackles. Yeah, I
wouldn't put them in average.
probably.
I'd put them in really average. So yeah, I would say they're both really average. What would you say?
Yeah.
You think one's
maybe
better than the
put a
other?
case for one of them in. Maybe I'll put one case for like maybe Sean Longstaff and just get in the bin.
Yeah. Let's put Sean Longstaff in the bin and put Hayden as average. Fair?
Yep,
All right,
that's fair.
lovely.
Sheffield United. These two are, for this list, I reckon they're pushing towards the higher bits, but they might still be classed as average. I think Sander Berg, I was very surprised when they bought him. They broke their kind of like Brexit style, only buying English or British players, and broke their transfer record, I think, at the time when they bought in Sander Berg. I think Sander Berg could easily play for top 10 team.
Yeah, I quite rate him actually.
And when not if Sheffield United go down, he'll be pinched by someone.
Yeah, he's definitely a decent player, and he's probably a bit too good for Sheffield United, especially how they are at the moment. But yeah, I don't. How old is he? 22 as well. So yeah, definitely solid player. I put him. Is he solid or is he really average?
Solid, definitely.
For his age as well. Yeah, solid. And Norwood, I don't really think he's that good, to be honest. I don't really rate him that highly.
I wouldn't call him a DM in this sense. I'd probably put him as a centre mid. He last season he was 6th in the league for tackles.
Oh, fair dude, that's not bad.
And,
that's really good actually. Yeah.
7th for pressures.
Yeah.
I think
out of this list,
he's not actually as bad as people make him out. Out of this list.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we won't put him in the bin. I don't think he is solid like with his other players and solid. I'd probably say he's average. Really average.
Yeah, I'd put Norwood as really average.
Yeah.
We might have to, when it comes to it, put a few more of these sort of really average in the bin.
Yeah.
Okay, Oreo Romeo.
Romeo's
has
alright.
been a solid player for. He's been a solid player for Southampton for a fair few seasons now. Not gonna set the world alight, but not many of these.
Reliable.
Not many of DMs do in world football, to be honest. Yeah, reliable,
heavy on tackles, wins a lot of them. Very good fitness mostly. Like he plays most games. Yeah, decent player.
Should we go solid?
Yeah, I'll stick him in solid. I think he's good enough to be in there.
Cool. Ibrahimovic Diallo, I don't know a lot about. I don't know if he's played that much this season. I think he came on against United. I know he was one of their few signings this season.
Yeah, he's played like 130 minutes or something this season.
I'd never heard of him last season. I don't know how he did in, I think, Toulouse or Montpellier or wherever he played in Ligue 1. Do we say get in the bin because we don't know, or do we just give him the benefit of doubt and put him in really average?
I think we give him the benefit of doubt when we put him in really average. It's a bit harsh to chuck him in the bin,
right.
Especially if he ends up having like a fantastic half of the season or something. So yeah, we'll stick him in really average.
We never know. Come the end of the season, he could have replaced like Romeo as Southampton's main DM, but we don't know. So
yeah,
we don't make false assertions here. Tottenham, I'll let you kick off this. This is your
all right. We'll start with Gedson Fernandez. Not really played much this season. Not sure if he's injured or he's just not really in the pecking order. I know he was loaned from Lisbon. I think he's got like a clause. I think it's somewhere between 40 and 60 million to make it permanent. Definitely, if I'm Tottenham, I would definitely not be buying him. I think he's a very young player. I think I'm not sure. Let me check how old he is. Gedson Fernandez. I don't even think he's on the list. I don't think he's not even played this season. So
20 on 999.
20, yeah. So look, he's very young. I guess his potential to be a good player, but he's not getting into that Tottenham squad at the moment. He's not really sniffing near it, to be honest. So I'd be quite happy to stick him in the bin, to be honest. He can go back to Portugal.
Yeah, I remember we were linked with him heavily, and then you got him, and then I think Spurs fans were quite happy that they just signed a player at that point. But
yeah.
I remember from the Spurs Amazon documentary, you missed that penalty that when you went out to Norwich in the League Cup.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Yep. That's probably the only thing of note that I've known about him in Spurs shirt. To be fair,
I've watched him play when he's come on off the bench and he started a few European games, but he's just looked a bit scared, and that's like one thing I hate. Not certain positions I understand, but from like a DM or a centre mid, I don't want to see them scared and just looking a bit. He's got a bit about him going forward. I wouldn't really say he's a CDM, to be honest. More of a box-to-box midfielder. But yeah, for how he's been with Tottenham and what I've seen from him for the time he's been there, I think he can get in the bin.
Okay. Harry Winks. Go on, and then I'll give you mine.
Harry Winks. A few words to describe Harry Winks. He's pretty reliable. Reliable in being boring. Yeah, reliable in passing around the back. He's a pretty sleek passer of the ball, but not necessarily in a creative way. Just in simple, like he's just nothing special. Although he's been linked with City before for around 40 mil, and if we can just get rid of him, something like that, I'll be absolutely over the moon. I don't really want to see him in Tottenham's plans going forward. I don't think he's of that level to be starting. He is all right for a squad player, but like get him away from that England team, get him away from anything like that. Really average, I think.
I'd even put him in the bin.
No, he's not that bad.
If we'd put him in the bin, I'd have to make like Xhaka and Jorginho in the bin for sure. But he just does nothing. Like I said on the England tier list, like Mourinho likes him, but because Mourinho likes a Ramirez or a Herrera, and he's like that yappy dog, but he's just not yappy enough. He just doesn't. Yeah. I don't think they see him on a team sheet. Every opposition will be like, oh, yeah, that's the player we're going to go against to like exploit. That's the weak spot. So I'll go with your really average, but he could easily be in the bin.
Yeah, I think he's played enough minutes and he's been consistent enough to get him really average. I can't say he's awful. Looking at some of these bin players, like Jesus, yeah. All right, Højbjerg. This is the one I've been waiting for. This is why I left it till last because look, Højbjerg. Yeah, this season he's been world class. I'm not really putting him forward to being world class. I don't think, but I'm not setting him for any less than top player. And I think, like, this season, he's been world class. If you look at how he's come into that Tottenham team, straight into that Tottenham team as well. Like, not, from Southampton, 15 mil as well. There's another argument to put him forward as bargain of the season in terms of business been done. I think he's been fantastic. He's really... The way... I don't know if it's Mourinho or if it's him or a mix of both, but he's just gelled into that team so nicely. He's hard-working. He's doing all that dirty work that he needs to do. He's dropping into the back and he's moving the ball. He's basically what you want from Harry Winks. But Harry Winks is just nowhere near. Like, Højbjerg's doing all the dirty work and he's clean. He's not making barely any mistakes, getting the ball forward. And that's what you want. From the way Spurs have been set up with counter-attacking most of this season, whether you like it or hate it, he is perfect for that because he's getting that ball from deep and he's moving it forward quickly. I really like him, honestly.
I think he's been very good, very, very good this season. You can't make any claims that he's not. I don't think he's world class though.
No, I don't like as a player. I wouldn't say he's
player.
world class, but I think this if you just this season, I'd say he's been like world class. If you're ranking like performances this season, but in this tier list and as a player, I'd say he's definitely a top player.
I'm just looking at stats from last season. I didn't even think he was like amazing for Southampton, but stats wise, he's in the top 3 top 3 to 4 DMs in this list for tackles versus dribbles, pressures, blocks, interceptions, everything. And like you said, like I would have loved him at United when you bought him. Like it would have been a smart sign. It was just a smart signing from Spurs.
He's played every minute of this season in the Premier League. Every minute. He's got most tackles won. He just kills the stats. Honestly, he's been fantastic. Most like pressing, passing. Wow, just top player. Really love him. Honestly, for 15 mil as well. Bargain. Absolute bargain.
Okay, moving on to someone on the other end of this list is Jake Livermore. Interesting. I went to school with Jake Livermore. He was, I think, 2 years above me. And I've been told from one of my friends in that year, he wasn't even the best player in our school. But somehow he made it as a professional. Obviously, came through Spurs. Somehow got capped by England.
Yeah.
Then got done for cocaine, but somehow managed to stay a professional footballer. I'd easily just put him in the bin.
Yeah, he's 31. His career's been average. He's just one of those players, isn't he, that's always kicking around like Championship or
He's
Prem.
not a Premier League footballer.
No, he's not. He's
not really.
But you know what? He's probably. No, I was going to say he's probably too good for the Championship, but maybe not. I really like. There's like a. I can't remember what video I was watching, and no one's actually done this yet. Do you know how there's this category of player that's too good for the Championship but not good enough to be in the Prem? I really think there is a category of that sort of player. I think he might fall into that.
It's like a player that possibly would go up but then come straight back down.
Yeah.
They wouldn't like stay in that level.
Yeah.
But I looking at the bin, he's probably the better of the bin.
Yeah.
But that's not saying anything.
Better of the bin, but he still belongs in the bin.
Okay, let's move on. Declan Rice. He's not world class.
No.
But he's probably a top player. There's justifiable reason why Chelsea want him. And he's been linked with. He won't be at West Ham for long. They'll probably need to cash in on him just to fund staying at the Olympic Stadium, which never gets filled. But yeah, he's stats wise last season he's class. I think he led the league for interceptions, if I'm correct. Yeah, led the league in this list for interceptions. Third in the league for blocks. Led the league for presses. And second in the league, just behind on tackles from Ndidi, who did 125 to his 122. So stats wise, he could be arguably on world class in this list, but like I said, just top player in it.
Yeah, only 21 years old. I'm sure he will be world class in the future. At the moment, he's a top player. He's West Ham's best player, I think. But the way that Souček's coming this season as well, it's actually quite a nice combination. I think. Someone's got to pick him up.
Finally phasing out Mr. Brexit, Mark Noble.
I think Chelsea want him.
Not that he supports any political movements. We're not saying anything about that by Mark Noble. But if there's only been a Brexit, like someone who sums up Brexit, is Mark Noble, isn't it?
Yeah, and Rice. I think Chelsea have been linked with him as well. So if they can pick him up,
yeah,
he's going to have some English touch as well, isn't he? But yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, definitely. Let's finish this off with. Two Wolves players, Ruben Neves and Dendonka. You really rate Ruben Neves, but I kind of am questioned why he hasn't kicked on as much as he has. Neves is still a top player in this list. He's probably better than everyone in solid, but he's not world class.
I really like Ruben Neves. No, he's not world class, but I think he looks older than he is, and he's only 23, and he's only just turned 23 as well. He's younger than me, and even though he looks like double my age, but he's like. I think he's very good. But I don't know if Ruben Neves, he's just that player that you want to like because of like his like ability of these like long shots that are just so beautiful and stuff to watch. But like looking at his stats, he's pretty solid defensively as well. Like he is up there in like tackles, and he's only played sort of 2/3 of potential minutes this season. So I think you have got to rate him. I don't know. I don't watch Wolves too much. I might watch them tonight, but yeah, I think. He's pretty solid. I'd put him in top player. He's better than the players in solid, honestly.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that. Let's finish this off with Liandra Dendonka, who has mainly been a CDM in his career, but I know Wolves like to play him as in a back three. I think he's quite a decent player, kind of under the radar. Nothing more than solid, but I think he's definitely better than average.
Yeah, I'd say he's. I mean, look, he's played the same amount of Ruben Neves, and Ruben Neves has got like a lot better stats. But like you said, he's been playing at centre back. He's got a bit of attacking threat to him. I remember he's got a bit of a long shot as well. But no, he's really average, or you think solid?
I think solid. I think he is better than quite a few of the really average.
I think he's quite young as well, unless it was like a long time. Yeah, he's 25, so yeah, put him in solid. I quite like the look of this list actually. I'm trying to think. Would you make any changes?
I'd maybe drop Chiarte to really average.
Yeah, and maybe Xhaka get in the bin.
Xhaka and Jorginho in the bin?
Then again, though, is Elneny not worse than Xhaka?
Yeah, probably. Should we just put both in the bin?
Nah, let's leave Xhaka in average and we'll put Elneny in the bin. Because he did score that goal at the weekend, so just from recent memory, we've got to give him a bit of plus for that. You know, for Arsenal fans, honestly, I've seen so many Arsenal fans slag him off for ages, get him out. I bet you after that win against Chelsea, they're going to be loving him again. Give him the armband back.
So, just to confirm, this is our tier list for sixes or DMs in the Premier League from this season. We've got Ndidi and Fabinho in world class, no qualms with that. Allen, Calvin Phillips, Basuma, Fernandinho, Højbjerg, Declan Rice and Ruben Neves top players. Solid is Douglas Luiz, Milijevic, Nemanja Matic, Anguissa, Rodri, Sunderberg, Oreo Romeo and Liandra Dendonka. Really average is Hamza Chowdhury, Chiarte, Granit Xhaka just, Jack Corke, Jorginho just, James McCarthy, Gabamin, Lemina, Memphis Mendy, probably could be in the bin to be fair. Isaac Hayden probably also should be in the bin. Diallo, Oliver Norwood and Harry McGuinks by a finger. And then in the bin, little bit harsh, but he's just not playing enough. Billy Gilmore, definitely in the bin, at the bottom of the bin. Jaravide, Besic, Elneny, Reed, Amati, Sean Longstaff, Gedson Fernandez, and Jake Livermore.
Yeah.
So that sums up our tier list. I hope you've enjoyed listening and watching. We will be doing every single position in the league of this, so look out for more to come whenever this goes up. Any final thoughts, Kurt?
No, just if you enjoyed, obviously leave a like. If you disagree with anything, let us know in the comment section below. Where you put people, if you make any changes, if you think either of us are very stupid for some of our selections, just let us know. We're excited to hear the feedback. And as Adam said, we're going to be doing more of these different positions in the Premier League. And I really enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll continue from there.
Thanks for listening and watching, guys. Have a good one.